Hello, my name is Christopher Lair. I teach at Evangel University in Springfield, Missouri, and at Drury University in Springfield, Missouri. What I'm going to talk about today is what we usually do in a first lesson, especially with my incoming freshmen, is we talk about how to use the imagination when playing, and when practicing, and when performing, and when listening. I usually ask them what their most important or most useful tool is. And I get all sorts of responses from things like my embouchure or my air or my brain, which is always a good answer. I like the brain answer. But really, I think the best answer to that question is that your most useful tool is your imagination. And here's why. There is a series of events that have to happen when you're preparing to play. It has to do with posture, with breathing. Air goes in, air goes out. We focus. We do various things with our face and with our fingers. But an extremely important step when we're just about to play is that we have to visualize what we're about to try to do. And that comes into play not just in that moment, but also when we're considering phrases. For example, we usually discuss written language. I once saw a Masterclass with Paul Evers. He had a Masterclass for high school students at Florida State. And he had a piece of sheet music next to him, and he asked them, what is this? And he pointed to it. And somebody said music, somebody said Vaughan Williams Concerto, somebody said whatever. The answer is that's ink and paper. Music is something a bit more esoteric than just ink and paper. It's a concept. It's for lack of a formal definition, it's organized sound. But what's important is that music is sound. It's not what's on the page. When we look at written word, when we read our language or another language, hopefully if you're bilingual, we don't look at the technical construct of the language. We don't look at the grammatical elements unless we're a highly trained, highly skilled writer, much smarter than me. What we usually look at is the conceptual idea that we see in the sentence. And when we look at music, it's much more efficient and much more constructive to look at a collection of notes or a phrase or a whole piece or all the various elements of the piece as a more abstract concept. Look at it conceptually first, and we reach our goal much, much faster than we would if we try to look at all the little details first and start trying to put it together and then gradually decide what we're going to try to accomplish. So I like to have students speak aloud a sentence, such as, I usually use this one. I don't know why. It just stuck with me. Any sentence will work. But the one I usually use is, when I cross the street, I look both ways. Now, you can say that sentence any number of different ways, and we usually try to say it in different ways to give the sentence different meaning. For example, you can inflect your voice upward. When I cross the street, I look both ways. It creates a question. Or, when I cross the street, I look both ways. All of a sudden, I'm angry. There are an infinite number of different ways to do that. It works the same with sound. But if you just look at a sentence and speak the words, when I cross the street, I look both ways. All the technical elements of the sentence are there, but the next level, the imagination, is not there. The imagination, the visualization has to happen first. You look at the sentence, you get the concept, you reproduce it, and then you create something new. Which leads me to the next part of this discussion, which is imagination is, in my opinion, the fun part. That's where we get to be constructive, we get to be creative, and imagination and memory are linked. So we use all of the elements we learn of music, we use all of the techniques we learn with the horn, and we put them together, we reconstruct them in different ways, and we use our imagination to combine new ways. And then we know what our goal is. And we have a path. When you're going to map out a destination, very important to know first where you are. Second, where you're going. And then you can map out your trip. And then when you take off, you can use your technique, you can use your vehicle, i.e. horn, to get to where you're going. And you've got to surmount various obstacles along the way, and that's why we learn all these skills. But if you don't know where you're going, what's going to happen? You're just going to wander around in the middle of nowhere, and it's going to take forever to get to where you're going. I've been there, and I've done that. It's not really very much fun. However, when you know where you're going, you've got your destination mapped out, you take off, and you do what you need to do to get to where you're going, and hopefully even enjoy the trip. And that's the point.